Hello and welcome to the EdjSports NFL Betting Preview for Week 14. I'm your host, as always, Ian O'Connor, Senior Data Analyst here at EdjSports. We're going to start off by taking a look at tonight's Thursday night football game between the Pittsburgh Steelers and Minnesota Vikings, along with some of the other Week 14 Sunday games and then our Moneyline value picks as we do every week. And then before getting into our regularly scheduled programming and previewing those games, the usual reminders for you can catch me here every Thursday throughout the NFL season, where again I'll preview the upcoming weekend's action. And then you can catch me every Monday morning where I'm joined by our VP of Data Science, Scott Brown, where we recap the weekend's action and decision-making, taking a look at our top 5 most impactful plays and the best and worst fourth down decisions from the previous weekend's action. And then we take a look at the betting preview for the Monday night football game as well. Again, that is every Monday morning. You can catch those on the EdjSports Podcast Network on your podcast platform of choice. Be sure to subscribe, give us a 5-star review, help us grow our audience, get this analysis out to even more people and the betting insights to even more people as well. And also don't forget to subscribe to our EdjSports YouTube channel, where you can catch our podcast and our matchup previews every week for every NFL game. And then last but not least, be sure to check out our site and experience at edjsports.com. That's EdjSports.com. And download our new app, which is available for both iOS and Android. On the app and on the website, you can get pregame betting insights for every NFL game, including the fair values and totals for each game that I will present to you in this game or in this podcast for these games. But you'll be able to see that for every single game and maybe find some other games where you think there's a little bit of value as well. You'll have the ability also to track your bets there, so you can see the probability of those hitting throughout the game. They'll update as the games go on, as scores happen, and you'll be able to see what your chances are of your bets hitting. Really useful there, especially if you're wanting to cash out on a bet, possibly. You can see if maybe you have the opportunity, but it doesn't look like there's going to be a chance for that to hit, so that's a really cool feature that we've got on there. So without further ado, we'll jump right into tonight's matchup. Again, that's Pittsburgh Steelers at the Minnesota Vikings. So it's actually begun to come out this morning that Dalvin Cook will play tonight, barring a pregame setback, a much quicker than expected return from a dislocated shoulder. So that's a big addition for Minnesota, although Alexander Mattison has been pretty well in his absence. Pittsburgh last week had a big win over Baltimore, helped out by that 2-point conversion that was just a bit off from Lamar Jackson and Mark Andrews, but nevertheless got the win. Minnesota, on the other hand, had a tough loss against Detroit. The previously winless Detroit, giving them their first win, dropped Minnesota's playoff chances by 19.7%, down to only 35.7%. Those are odds from Football Outsiders, our partners there. Those odds, or those numbers, playoff odds, are available for free just for signing up with an email. But they do have a premium subscription as well that also has fantasy rankings, fantasy analysis, betting analysis as well there that you can get with an FO Plus subscription. Right now they're running a special. It's only 99 cents a week for annual subscription. So a lot of really good information that I'll be highlighting here in some of these games, as well as in our pregame matchup videos that we have every week. Now, despite the bad loss I mentioned last week for Minnesota, they are still much higher than Pittsburgh in weighted DVOA. Minnesota is 11th, Pittsburgh's 25th, and weighted DVOA gives a little bit less strength, or really focuses less on early season games. They don't matter as much, more so the games here recently. So Minnesota is still really a lot better than what their record shows. They've been in a lot of close games this year, have pulled a couple out, but have lost, I think, more than they've won there. So that's been tough, but have performed a lot better. The underlying metrics say that they're a lot better than their record. They're 7th in offense, but only 22nd in defense. Again, that's weighted DVOA. But Pittsburgh's only 20th in offense and 30th in defense. So Minnesota has the advantage here, playing at home as well. Minnesota's 3rd in pass offense. They've got Justin Jefferson, number 2 wide receiver in DYAR. Another stat from Football Outsiders is defense adjusted yards above replacement. So just says in an aggregate how much more he is worth than your average replacement player. That's pretty good. He's behind only Cooper Kupp, who's having a phenomenal season as well. Pittsburgh only 25th against the pass, 14th against wide receiver ones, and 29th against deep passes. So could be another huge game for Justin Jefferson, especially with Adam Thielen. Looks like he's going to be out with that ankle injury. So we like Minnesota in this one. The market is at Minnesota -3, a field goal there. We have them at a touchdown, -6, giving the Vikings 58.7% chance to cover and giving them 66.8% chance to win by 3 or more. So just over 2/3 of our simulations, they push or cover that 3-point line. Then the market total is at 43.5. We're a lot higher on this one at 51 points. It's our third highest of the week, giving this one 72.6% chance to exceed 43.5 points. So we're expecting, with those defenses I mentioned that are both below average, 22nd and 30th. Pittsburgh's offense isn't great. They do have some playmakers that can really, they get the ball down the field. Minnesota in 7th in offense overall has been really good. Mike Zimmer has kind of allowed Minnesota to open it up a little bit more and throw the ball a little bit more, a little bit less conservative. So we're expecting more points in this one than the market. Now, the over is hit in 4 of Minnesota's last 5 games. Only one of those was at home, and it was their first home over this season. They have only one. But the Pittsburgh over is 2-0-1 in primetime games this year. The last 2 have gone over, so just an interesting note there, something I picked up. But, yeah, we really like the over here quite a bit. Looking at the public betting, 73% of the bets are on Pittsburgh, but 75% of the money is on Minnesota. So a big difference there. A lot of the retail bettors, I don't know if it's Pittsburgh coming off a big win last week. Big Ben, still doesn't really look anything like he used to. That's really not a surprise to anyone hearing that. Looking like coming out before last week's game that this was probably going to be his last season. But the Sharps, a lot of the big money bets are on Minnesota, almost 3 out of 4. So difference there, but when the public kind of gets that high, a lot of times people like to kind of go the opposite way, and that's exactly what the Sharps are doing, putting a lot of money on Minnesota. So recapping this one, we've got value on both Minnesota and the over. 66.8% chance for Minnesota to push or cover -3. That is to win by a field goal or more. And then 72.6% chance for this game to exceed 43.5 points. Moving on to our next game is Atlanta at Carolina. Falcons at Panthers. Really not a super exciting matchup. Really not much of an exciting matchup at all. But we do see a lot of value in Carolina in this one. Atlanta is dead last in DVOA. Carolina is only 27th. Both the offenses are 29th or worse, so really not good. Cam Newton, in his first game, had a big game with a passing and rushing touchdown, I think on the first 2 drives against Arizona. Since then, things have not been good. But Carolina's defense is 11th in weighted DVOA, while Atlanta is 29th. So the Panthers very good against the pass at 5th. Matt Ryan and the Falcons only 26th in passing and are still missing Calvin Ridley. So we really like Carolina in this one a lot. The market has them as only 2.5-point favorites. Our edge fair value is Carolina -7. So we give Carolina almost 70% chance at 69.8% chance to cover -2.5. So pretty strong there in this one. Our model really likes Carolina. The total, only 42.5 points. Really not surprising given the poor really teams in general. Both poor offenses. Tied for second lowest of the week. Our fair value is 43, just a 0.5 point higher. Also tied for our second lowest of the week. 53.5% chance to exceed 42.5 points. The market projection is pretty good on this one. We don't have a ton of value, if anything. Just a slight value on the over at about almost 54% of our simulations. But the Atlanta under has won in 4 straight and 5 of 6. But the Carolina over has won in 3 straight after the under won in 3 straight. So it's been kind of a split and up and down for Carolina, but the Atlanta games have gone under quite a bit here lately. Again, 4 straight, 5 out of 6. Like I said, our projection is pretty spot on with the markets at 42.5, both second lowest of the week. So not expecting a lot of points here, but really hard to really pick an over or the under in this one just because we've got it so close. 53% of the bets are on Atlanta. We don't have any data on the public money right now, unfortunately, but pretty split here, Atlanta and Carolina. In the public likes Atlanta just a little bit more, so it'll be interesting to see how that one goes. Now, recapping here, a very strong value from us on Carolina, very slight on the over. Panthers, 69.8% chance to cover by 2.5, cover -2.5, so to win by a field goal or more. And then 53.5% chance for the game to exceed 42.5 points. Now, coming to our third game is the New York Giants at the Los Angeles Chargers. This isn't a great matchup, but it's an interesting one because Joe Judge has said that Mike Glennon will start if he clears concussion protocol. We're currently projecting Jake Fromm to start right now. And then on the other side, the Chargers could be missing their top 2 receivers. Keenan Allen tested positive for COVID, but reportedly is vaccinated, has a chance to return on Sunday, but he needs 2 consecutive negative tests 24 hours apart, so we'll just kind of a waiting game on that one to see how that goes. Mike Williams was a close contact, so he was placed on the COVID list as well. He can also return as long as he continues to test negative. So a little bit more optimistic there, I think, for Mike Williams. Keenan Allen, maybe not so much. I think it was Monday he tested positive. So it would be kind of surprising for him to be back as often as they're tested, but we'll see. So with those two, though, the Chargers have the number 2 offense. Could obviously take a hit without those receivers, but still Justin Herbert has been pretty good here, especially lately. Still has guys like Jalen Guyton who have proven that they can come up big. A couple tight ends, Donald Parham and Jared Cook have proven themselves here last year and in the last couple of years. So still has some weapons. The Giants have been decent on defense at 13th in weighted DVOA. They're 8th against the pass, but 2nd to last against the run. So without those receivers, could be a big day for Eckler on the ground. The Giants, though, 4th defending passes to running back. So maybe not as big of a day through the air for Eckler as normal, but could be a big day on the ground. Again, those Giants only 2nd to last against the run, 31st in the league. So we like the Chargers a little bit more than the market in this one with the way things are right now. Again, with expecting Jake Fromm to start. The market is at Chargers -10. That's up from 7 points at open at the beginning of the week. It is the 2nd largest spread of the week behind only Green Bay at -12. It's just ahead of Kansas City over Vegas, who's -9.5. So the Chargers -10 in the market. We've got it at -14, which is one of the bigger spreads we've had of the season, and it's the largest of the week, obviously. So would likely change some if Glennon is back. We do adjust for quarterbacks being out. We don't adjust for any other players, really, receivers, running backs. Quarterback's really the most important, but there would be a slight hit to the offense without those receivers. But the biggest thing here is whether it's Glennon or Fromm. Glennon, not great anyway, so we'd probably still have the Chargers favored to beat the market spread a little bit. But right now at -14, we give them 58.1% chance to cover -10 and 60.6% chance to push or cover -10. So touchdown, extra point, and a field goal is a pretty big one, but we like their chances in this one. Now the Chargers are only 2-5 though against the spread in the last 7 games. The Giants are 4-3 against the spread in the last 7 games, but only 1-2 in the last 3. So not really a great record against the spread for either of these teams. So something's got to give here unless they push. At -10, that's a possibility. So as far as the total, the market's at 43, one of the lower of the week. We're in the opposite direction. 55 points, our highest of the week. So a 12-point difference between our total and the market's total. 79.8% chance to exceed 43 points. So pretty big number there. Almost, I think, for it to reach 43 or exceed 43 is going to be over 80%. It's a big number. But looking at the trends here, the Giants under is hit in 6 straight. The Chargers have alternated overs and unders in the last 5, but the over is 4-2 in the last 6. So again, they're split on this one. But we're liking a lot of points to be scored in this one. Now, 86% of the bets, 84% of the money on the Chargers. Really not a surprise here against a Giants team that just isn't very good. A lot of speculation whether Joe Judge will even be back. Only been his 2nd year. So interesting kind of to keep an eye on there. He's 31st in our coach rankings, 2nd to last ahead of only Mike Tomlin. Has been really bad 4th down decisions. Had a really bad week last week. Dropped him down a spot. So pretty much everyone on the Chargers in this one at home. Not much of a surprise. So recapping, we got good value on the Chargers and the over by our model. The Chargers, 60.6% chance to push or cover -10, and nearly 80% at 79.8% chance to exceed 43 points. Now moving on to the Moneyline value segment of the show. The last segment, only 1 and 2 again last week. 2 of the long shots, though, we had were below 40% chance to win pregame. We didn't really have a ton, so pulled out a couple of those. Those were the 2 that lost. The Chargers were the 1 win over Cincinnati. We actually had the Chargers favored when they were underdogs in the market. And then Houston and Denver, again, didn't expect those to hit, but they were priced a little bit lower in the market than what we had. Houston ended up getting shut out by the Colts. Denver lost in a low-scoring game against Kansas City. They were in it for a lot of that game. Ended up losing, I think it was 22-9. So not really surprising either of those teams lost. This week, we don't have any games where we differ from the market on the favorite. We do have some teams, though, favored a little bit more than the market. One of them we talked about, the second game that I talked about, Carolina. We have them at 75% chance to win versus the market implied 58% against Atlanta. So they are still favorites in the market. We like them a little bit more, winning 3 out of 4 of our simulations. Long shot pick, because there's really not much else out there this week. Pretty close to the market on a lot of these games this week. But Las Vegas, we have it 31% chance to win versus a market implied 21% against Kansas City. Now, they played Kansas City close in 2 games last year and won one of them. First meeting this year wasn't close. I think it was 41-10. Vegas is able to score. Darren Waller is they're optimistic, I think, or at least he's optimistic he can return this week. That would be a huge boost to that Raiders offense. But I'm not super confident in this one. Again, I called it our long shot. The Kansas City defense has been much better lately. They're 2nd overall since Week 10, 5th against the pass since Week 10, and 7th against the rush. Now, the Las Vegas offense has been pretty good. They're 12th overall and 10th in passing since Week 10. Could pull the upset. We only have it happening in just under a third of our simulations. But still, they're priced lower than this in the market at winning only 1 out of 5. So, again, Carolina, Vegas, both of our Moneyline picks, but Vegas is a long shot this week. So that's going to wrap up our Week 14 preview. Just a quick recap on all those for those keeping track at home. Pittsburgh at Minnesota is tonight, the Thursday night football game. Vikings 66.8% chance to push or cover -3, and 72.6% chance for this game to exceed 43.5 points. The Atlanta Falcons at Carolina Panthers. Carolina 69.8% chance to cover -2.5, 53.5% chance for this game to exceed 42.5 points. In their first meeting, I think Carolina, when I looked, I think it was a 19-13 win. So they did cover the first time. We expect them to cover again this time. The New York Giants at Los Angeles Chargers. The Chargers 60.6% chance to push or cover -10. Just a reminder there, that is with Jake Fromm expected to start at quarterback, not Mike Glennon for the Giants. So we will keep an eye on that quarterback situation and see what's going to happen there. And then the total, we give 79.8% chance for that game to exceed the 43-point market total. Those money line values for you one more time. Carolina, 75% chance to win versus a market implied 58% against Atlanta. And the long shot is Las Vegas, 31% chance to win versus a market implied 21% against Kansas City. So that'll do it for this week. Be sure to check out all of our pregame betting insights for Week 14 and beyond on EdjSports.com, on our new EdjSports app, and then on our EdjSports YouTube channel, where you can see all of the pregame matchup videos that we put together. And then come back on Monday to hear our weekend recap and Monday Night Football betting preview. Please subscribe to the EdjSports Podcast Network on your preferred podcast platform. Give us a 5-star review. Again, help us grow our audience. And don't forget to subscribe to the EdjSports YouTube channel. You can see those matchup videos for every game every week. You can see our head coach rankings update, which comes out on Wednesdays. Those are all available on our YouTube channel. So thanks for listening and enjoy the Week 14 action.